I'd like to call to order the normal monthly business meeting of the Devils Lake Water Improvement District. Today is March 14th, 2019. Let the record reflect that Directors Kramer, Norris, French, and Sexton are in attendance. Director Brown is excused from this meeting at this time. Do we have a motion from the board to approve the consent agenda of the financials for January and the minutes from January?
I have just a thing about the minutes from January. It said in the minutes that I said that the mud coming down Thompson Creek was from a heavy rain. I was the only one that thought it was from, I did not think it was from the rain. I thought it looked like something had given away and just sent a huge amount of mud down suddenly. So, and now it's happened a second time.
Right. Apparently it happened, was it Monday or Tuesday this week?
Tuesday, I think it was.
Whatever day we had.
This one was not as large as the last one, but it's just very sudden, like something gives way and
Yeah,
a
like
whole
a
bunch of
slide
mud
or
comes down and then it clears up again.
Mm-hmm.
That would
And
be
I
one
believe,
of the
and maybe Josh will address that when he talks about things later, but he went out and checked that out, I believe. So, so do I hear a motion to accept the?
I accept them other than that.
Okay, good. Do I hear a second from the board?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. We checked a moment ago for public comments on agenda or non-agenda items. Do we have anyone that would like to address the board before the meeting starts? Nobody? All right. Good. Continuing board business then. We should have updates from our committees. The sewer committee. Do you want to brief us a little bit, Tina, about
Sure.
what's going on with that?
We have not had any change since the last meeting. Just a reminder from last meeting that we did have a really good sewer committee meeting in the end of January. And I reported at the February meeting that at that point we thought we had finally come to a point where we either need to make a decision to develop a citizen committee to move forward with possibly developing a special district, if that's what they decide to do. But I'm going to say my personal opinion is that our board and our district has come to a completion on what our mission was of that sewer district. And we need to decide what we're going to do with the sewer committee. If we are going to put it to bed, for lack of a better term, try to roll it over into a septic inspection committee or a septic improvement committee or whatever we want to call that. But that is the last I've heard. Brian sent an email. He will be, he wasn't able to make this meeting, but he would like to come and make a presentation on the final findings, pulling everything together much more in detail than what I've given you. Is that going to be, do you believe that'll be next meeting that he'll be able to attend? I believe that'll be the April meeting, and a reminder, I'm not going to be at the April meeting, but I will try to get together with him before that meeting, before his presentation.
Yeah, I think that if we can have a presentation from Brian at the next meeting, and then as a board we can decide which direction we want to go on that. Although we've done our due diligence with regard to finding out the real costs involved in developing a sewer system, then if depending on what our proposal comes from the board, from the committee, then the board needs to make a decision as to what we want to do with that committee and if we want to take a different direction. But I think we've done a lot with regard to that. Very good. All right. Special projects. Bill? Do you have anything from your
I just
committee?
have an update on our next special projects meeting, and it will be April 13th at 10 a.m. at the college, upstairs in room 217. And we'll be going over our current projects with the floating gardens, should have an update by then on our marine update from the deputies. I was in contact with them a couple of times this month, and they've stated they're inundated, but they would give me 2 dates in May. So we'll be looking forward to that. The other thing is down at the river, we really need some volunteers to. We did a little work. One of the other board members, myself, and the manager, we went down and tried to do some water testing as far as how much volume's coming down the river and what we could do with it to help assist our debris situation that we have down there with the logs and tidal sand. So if anybody's interested, we'd like to go over that again at our meeting and see if we can't headline it and bring some more volunteers down to either just for manpower or, lack of a better word, participate in moving the storm debris away from the main riverbed. So.
One of the things I was going to say, do you know, I did not look at the river level. What do we have at the dam right now? What's the lake level?
It was 972.
972. Yes. As I look at the potential for rain, we aren't supposed to get any more rain until I think a week from tomorrow, and we've had just over 2 inches, at least at my house this month. Last year, I believe in March, we had a little over 10.8, I think, and so the lake level is dropping. I know that since last time, and I think that we need to be prepared to put in the boards. I believe we can put them in as early as April 15th, and so just kind of be thinking ahead. I think we may have to do that to maintain our recreational water level of 93.
This winter we had an extreme amount of sand come in, and until early in this month the sand was up around the staff pole at about over 9'9" with sand. So at this point there's a canal that's running on the south side of the river that's anywhere from 16 to 24 inches deep. So I think that whatever sand is there that's in the middle is probably going to stay there.
Right.
Other than trying to move it.
This is kind of off topic, but on topic. Does that help us, Josh, having that sand above what our impoundment permit allows us to have?
You know, I can ask, but I don't know how they'll look at that, honestly, because it's the Oregon Water Resource Department we deal with and report to, so they're not soil people. I can see.
I would think that that would be another bullet point we could put on our permit for,
Yeah.
you know, that the sand is above what our impoundment permit allows us to impound.
Yeah, I can give the water master a call and find out.
Good point.
Maybe we can.
What happens when the sand gets to 11 feet?
Yeah. Obviously, this is the issue at hand.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, then we end up with just one little channel.
Or nothing.
And or nothing, and a roosting place for a whole bunch of birds.
Well, yeah, that.
Yeah. The problem is the water will find a way to get out.
Yeah,
It's just however much
historically-
it builds up and where it goes that we don't want it to go. You know,
Right.
property damage and
Right.
you know, human, animal life risk and anything you can imagine when it's in the area where it's not planned on being.
Yeah, in regards to that, you know, when we have the big tidal surges and whatnot, the sand does and has been up at 12 feet, but the hard pan that goes underneath the bridge is typically where the water level stays.
Right.
And it's always, you know, it might be up at 11 or 12 feet in the wintertime, but in the summer when the lake level goes down, it traditionally goes down just as low as it always does without the sand. I mean,
Right.
the sand will always move, it has water. So it's just a matter of, hopefully our water year isn't over and we do have some more water just to maintain a flow.
Well, with the snowpacks may help too.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Yeah, I just, I mean, as along that conversation, I noticed that you sent out a little notification that we do have good snowpack, which is a positive
Good news.
thing. But I was just wondering, my question with regard to that was, does the snowpack impact us much in our water basin?
We have snow just to the east of us, which
Yeah.
all those tributaries come in to the
Right.
lake.
It will. Now, the heaviest, if I recall correctly on that chart, was most of it was farther out in eastern Oregon. I think the areas near the coast were only an inch and a half over or something. At the very least, we're not under for
Right.
that factor. So,
Right. I just wasn't sure how much that affected, our basin and drainage into the lake.
I
how
would
much-
think long-term not so
Yeah.
much, but
Yeah.
spring probably.
it's
Yeah.
more. I think it's more of a water supply reservoir.
Okay, great. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Josh.
Bill, do you have a date for when you need volunteers at the river?
No, we do not, but that'll be discussed at our meeting.
And that's April 13th?
Yes,
Okay.
correct, 10 o'clock.
Is that a Saturday?
Yes.
All right, great. Okay.
On another note with the boards, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Just ringing a bell. Even though we do not impound water until the 15th, I would like to, as we had done in the past, is install the stanchion posts prior to the 15th, just so that when the 15th does come, we just have to drop the boards and wedge them in so they don't float away, and install the fish gate. So, that being said, I'll try and get down there prior to the 15th just to have the stanchion, the concrete exposed so that we can stand the steel posts. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh.
Let's see, Save Our Shorelines, Water Monitoring Committee. I know we had a workshop last weekend.
Well, we had a very positive Western Pond Turtle workshop with Susan Barnes from Salem ODF&W. She's the biologist over there for the Western region. She's very informative, told us how to identify, showed us how to identify turtles, told us that it's illegal to move turtles. Oh, so you can't just pick them up, from your camp spot and bring them to the lake. They don't want pet store turtles because those bring diseases. So we have to be really careful about populating our lake with turtles. And it's kind of a, if you build it, they will come. So we're going to work on identifying if we have turtles anywhere that might benefit from a turtle habitat development. And I think if we make the areas that are potential habitats more habitable for turtles, maybe they will come along. So that's pretty much what I got out of the workshop.
There were a number of us there. 3 board members were there, and what I took away from it was that, if we have turtles, we need to identify, do some type of a survey, and be trained to do that, and they do that training. And then secondly, that if we find turtles, we need to find out what type they are. We have 2, the Western Pond Turtle and the Painted Turtle are natives, and then the, what was
Red
it?
snapping turtle or something.
Red-cheeked, I think. Red-eared turtle, and then they have snapping turtles that sometimes are invasive. And so first we need to identify if we have turtles, and then what those turtles are, and then secondly, keep in mind habitat development, because it's like you said, and she said several times through the presentation, that if you develop the habitat, they will come. So historically, I don't believe, at least...
They read about that on the internet and come?
Apparently.
We're going to put up signs.
In addition, historically, the coast hasn't been a hot spot for turtles. Most of the
When we see them,
sightings-
we're always shocked.
Yeah,
But there's no reason why turtles couldn't be here.
Right.
If we set it up right for them.
Right.
Yeah, but we do have a lot of predators flying around, so.
That's true.
But the
we have to work
main
that through.
turtle populations in the state are down through the Roseburg area and the Umpqua River basins, and I've only seen less than a handful of turtles in Oregon, and that was in the Willamette Slough area around Salem. And I've never seen one here. I know I was talking with Tom last week, and in the 30 years he's been here, he stated he's never seen a turtle. So if we have them here, they're a small population and they're rare.
And they might be the wrong kind.
And they
so,
could be the
yeah.
wrong kind.
But we want to be trained in taking pictures of all sides of them, because it's sometimes hard to identify the invasive versus the normal turtles, the western and the painted turtle that should be here. And what they'll do is they'll come down and identify, probably from Newport. She'll call her friend in Newport, her co-worker, to come and look at the turtle we found, and maybe take the invasive one back to her office. So that's how we'll handle it for now. Not import turtles, since that's illegal. So.
I thought it was good education for us to be aware of. It's a species that's rare in Oregon, especially in our area, but we don't have many amphibians either, and so anything we can do and I think everything that we're doing as a board rolls into developing and enhancing the habitat we do have.
Yes,
so
not just the birds and not just the plants, but the amphibians too. So
right.
The western pond turtle is a good start.
yeah, thank you for putting that together.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, one of the things I got out of that was that I think we have prime habitat for turtles with all of the logs, quiet water, canals, plenty of habitat. I just don't, I've rarely encountered a turtle
Have
on
you
the
seen
lake.
one?
Have you seen them on the lake at all?
I've never seen one.
And you've been
You
here.
have one by your house, don't
Yeah,
you?
we saw one in our canal, and then my niece owned a piece of property out off of Bear Creek Road, and they had a little pond on their property, and there was a turtle. I mean, it looked like a pond turtle, but I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds like it could have been anything. But those are the 2 turtles in 50 years of living here that I've seen.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Take a picture of it if you get a chance to.
Yeah, if anybody out there that's watching, that's on the lake, that happens to see a turtle, try to take pictures, go to the website, and there's a form to identify and get that information into the state so that takes place. If we have comments from the audience, I'd love to hear them, but we need to have you up to the microphone so that people can hear you at home. Miles, did you have something? You were at the workshop.
I just wanted to know, do you trap it? Do you put a fence around it so that it is safe? Because a turtle could be gone by the time you get to your computer or you send an email to someone.
Well, what I took from it was, if possible, take pictures. That's the best evidence that she has. She has sightings that people don't have photographs of, and she can't tell what type of turtle it is. And unless you're a trained observer of turtles, I don't think that most of us would have the capabilities of identifying them. So the best evidence would be to take a picture and then note where it's at, because then somebody can go out and take a look at it again and see if it's here, what it is, and if we've got some.
But my experience with government entities is you can't get a call back from anyone for 2 days, and by that time the turtle could be
4 feet away.
They move fast. Right.
Sorry, I couldn't.
Hey, thanks, Miles. Okay. Great. Well, I appreciate Mary Ellen taking that upon herself, as well as the SOS committee, and really informing us about what the potential is for development of wildlife habitat here, and what types of wildlife we have, because most of us don't even think of turtles.
You said that there's training available too. I wonder if that would be something that Alexandria could do.
Yeah, I need to get a couple things together for her on that, and that was something I'd kind of started a conversation with some of the committee over how we can utilize her for that, because I think something like that would be a great
Because if she, I mean, with her
project.
background,
Yeah.
I would think that she would, I mean, this is right up her alley.
Well, and
And
it's-
she's right here, so if a call does come in, she could,
For sure, and
Be
she
there
could
in
do
10
land-based observation, so there's not as much, you know,
Right.
worry about being out and things like that. It's also something that she could take the training for, and when she helps me with water quality sampling, can be looking around
Right,
and
right.
doing that as well during regular work, so.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I don't see us spending a lot of money on it. It's just an awareness issue. That's what I took away from it. And there's been, what, she said 8 sightings, whatever that means, here on the lake over the course of the years. So I hate to put a bunch of our resources toward this when could
oh,
go
is it
somewhere
expensive
else.
to get training?
No, I don't
Oh.
think so, but I'm just saying that if we were to identify an intern or somebody for, you know, that to be their job, I don't think so.
Well, no, not their job,
no,
but it should
the-
definitely
Everything
be a,
else.
Yeah, the primary, the job responsibility I've discussed with our intern coming on is that water quality sampling is going to be the primary
Sure.
focus of the position. So.
Right.
but if you're out there and see a turtle.
You
and
bet.
training
Yeah, and the
what it
training is
and-
free and online. It's something that,
Yeah.
you know, probably takes an hour to do on the web, so.
And with her background, it probably would be much simpler than.
It would be a good
Myself
takeaway.
doing it.
Yeah, a good takeaway for her, because I know she's going to be working on a master's track as well, so maybe she needs some kind of research resume as well, so.
Great. All right. That means we must have an intern. Oh, okay, good. All right, good. Okay, let's move on then. Projects and operations. Josh, this is your area.
Hey, the conservation aeration project is going great. Everything's been humming along fine. All the checks have went fine on the equipment between Bill and I looking at it. Everything on the water. Granted, I haven't been out super recently on account of the weather and having the boat put away, but Bill, have you been out and everything just way it
Looks
has
wonderful,
been?
yeah.
All right.
There's no
Excellent.
difference in water clarity and very little to no algae particles.
Nice. Very good. So it's been doing that for several weeks now, and historically that's kind of what we know about the winter water here. It gets colder and it's clearer. So our real test is going to be this summer when, you know, when we check the dissolved oxygen and everything on the bottom of the lake. And that's a discussion that we've had with our contractor that put that equipment in as well, is that that's an indicating performance measurement factor for the system success. The video monitoring project has been going fine. The cameras have been up and down a little bit here and there. It's going to be something to continually kind of manage. It's ongoing. It's not something that takes a lot of time throughout the week to do. Usually just kind of drive in if there's an issue and click the thing on and off and reset them if there's something that needs done. It's just a matter of that type of equipment. They go up and down. I was speaking with one of our committee members tonight, and it's just kind of the nature of the beast. It's like a website. You're not going to make everybody happy with it. Some people are going to find it more functional than others, but it's going to, one thing is for sure, it's always going to require to keep an eye on it, and that's something that all of our projects do. So if we want any more increases in quality or to utilize that any more at the current site right now, we can look at a CenturyLink plan there, which is much better in the area because it's something to do with the IP address assigning with an FTP camera, because all the people access it. Spectrum sees that and they shut it down because they think it's some kind of internet attack the way they run theirs, unless you pay for a business plan, which is incredibly expensive with them. So you can have a CenturyLink account for approximately $50 a month, and according to Jim Dewey, that is what everyone here that operates those cameras have, like the one at Nelscott Reef and some of the other ones that are out. And that's something, you know, we can approach at some point, but right now it's not taking long to manage it. It's active. It's up most of the time. I'm looking into a second camera location. I think Blue Heron Landing is probably going to be our best bet up there. Still waiting on hearing back from Noel about what type of internet he has. So I'm looking at a couple different places. I'd really like to lock down one of those sites that has CenturyLink. That, so if we're going to, you know, bum somebody's internet and test that camera, at least maybe we can test the CenturyLink thing, because no Spectrum doesn't play very well with them. So if that's the case, then maybe we'll have a little bit more information moving forward if we want to do, you know, make any further utilization of that project. And I believe our account report on that right now is that we're approximately $5,347 of $8,000 total spent. $4,000 of that's going to be covered by a grant once we match. So I believe that's coming due in April, so I've got to get that report in and everything, invoices done. So that special district grant, they're super easy to work with, so. Any questions on the camera project?
What grant was that?
The Special District Safety and Security Grant, we got it in 2018. So, yeah. Our Airstream Pro Shoreline Aerator, I spoke with Bill over the past week or so on that. We've been cycling the power to it as we've done work down there, taking it off for about half the time through the day, I think, when we're going to get less benefit out of it. So that'll save us quite a bit in electricity, and we're still getting a good benefit out of it. It's definitely helping keep the water quality and everything up down in the area as well. We have several locations lined up to get it to. One or two of them are kind of dependent on some things that's happened since last year. Crystal Lagoon, we've kept an eye on. The Metzler property over there is going to install the electrical tap and everything on his dime for us, but give us a spot to operate it. It seems to have even more sediment than it had last year, and that's kind of packed up farther in that canal as well. So we're looking into options to hopefully be able to get it over there. Alternatively, Knoll has welcomed it back up at Blue Heron Landing again, which was our first test site, and it worked really well up there. I believe we have another 1 or 2 sites on deck. I know they're interested at Indian Shores at their lagoon as well. So we'll have plenty of places to move it around. And hopefully, out of those, we'll have a couple more returning taps. So far, our best bang for the buck has been the tap between, Knowles and Vivian's being go-to areas back. So
Is Indian Shores have their electrical done yet?
they will. That was the discussion I had with them, that's how we're approaching it. If they put in the electrical plus the area to actually physically, tie it up and tether it, because it requires a certain depth of water and a certain mounting, so all the power that thing handles. So I told them we'd have a little discussion this spring. I'll probably go out there with Bill, and we'll pick a day and meet with, I think Bob Wolf is his HOA's name, HOA manager's name, and see kind of how and where we can maybe get in there as well. So,
Right.
so that's kind of nice. We have, a few of these locations where we're picking up on these pockets and kind of cleaning them out, which has been, as I mentioned before in previous board meetings, some of the research has been pointing towards those shallower waters and these lagoons as being breeding grounds for some of this, and we can certainly see it on the lake in the summer. So, Bill, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, I don't. Thanks.
I think we've touched on the Dee River Devil's Lake flood protection as far as all the board and volunteer efforts to get down there and find some better solutions to control the tidal sand and everything that keeps coming in. We're still currently talking with all the regulatory agencies we can. I just spoke with Tom today. Kerry Landon with DSL called him back with some information that we were looking for as far as the ownership of the lake, the bottom and banks, because there's some amount of going back and forth as far as who actually owns it. Several people regulate it, but no one has necessarily claimed, and that's the question we're asking: who is this? Who do we talk to? Who owns this? Who is the end person we need to talk to? Because we don't want to go through and get permits and everything ready as we're instructed to do, as we have in the past on some things in some projects, and then come to the fact that there was not a permit necessary, or that process was. We want to make sure that that process is going to be necessary before we put any.
Who is Lincoln City's permits say that the ultimate end person was?
It's been our understanding that it's some shared responsibility between the Department of State Lands and the Army Corps of Engineers. So that is our biggest idea right now, and we have not gotten a complete and total answer yet. We're going to be calling, our next call is going to be Derek Wilson with ODFW. That's who we're referred to from DSL, to find out. There's been phone calls. I don't know why. There's been phone calls placed. We're trying to get hold of him right now and haven't heard a response back yet.
So DSL is not claiming to own the bottom of the lake? Wow.
Yeah. So the plot thickens. We're trying to get to the
do
bottom
we
of it.
expect to have some kind of a resolution of that by next meeting, I hope?
I would certainly hope so. That seems like a very simple question
Right.
that the district is asking of the people whom are claiming responsibility for regulating the area. Then we need to know who has ultimate responsibility.
Right.
Or if no one has ultimate responsibility, who are the contacts that have shared responsibility? Because if the dime's dropping on us as a district to deal with these things, yet no one's giving us solutions or a roadmap to take care of these issues, that's not functional. That's a losing battle.
Or we can take control.
I was going to say, or you just do it, and then
This-
somebody's going to step forward
I
and
mean,
say, that's our lake.
Yeah. Well, then, then we've asked the question, well, when we asked you if it was, then
Right.
Yeah.
what was your answer to us? So
Because, we don't, like we've said all along, is by fall, we want to have a solution in place and the proper documentation and paperwork and permits, whatever we need to do, we want to have a solution in place because we feel it's important for the management of this lake, for this group.
Well, and for the management of the property around the lake.
I
Absolutely.
agree. The district was formed under, the Army Corps' premise of flood control.
Right.
This falls squarely in our responsibility. So
Right.
we have to be provided the tools to use them.
Right. We'll get it, right?
We'll get it.
Okay, good.
Do we have anything else on that? I know everyone has been working on that. Okay. Water quality, we've touched on a little bit. Everything's been outstanding. We've got very low algae, if any, present. I haven't seen any. Bill's not seen any. I've seen very clear water everywhere, save for the Thompson Creek incident. I contacted Lila with Public Works. She said the only thing they have over there is a fire hydrant, and she sent an employee out. There's been no issues or breaks or anything like that. I contacted the Forest Service. I haven't heard back from them yet, and that's not uncommon because sometimes they're out. Just to see, because I know there's a lot of logging going on over there right now. They're definitely cutting. So did they have some sediment control break or something? Because if they do, they need to check it out because, as Kathy said, if this has happened twice,
Well, and the logging operation is a long way.
it is,
that.
and
South.
that doesn't make a lot of sense because it's not very sustained. It was like this
Right.
one slug, and I went upstream that day. Larry emailed me that morning.
Right.
There's almost nothing. I mean, it was a little bit of murkiness upstream across East Devils Lake Road, but nothing like what you saw in the turbidity in the little bay there at
Right.
all.
Oh, so the water upstream from there
Clear.
wasn't bad?
Very clear, like what you would expect after the kind of rain we had. A little bit of, but nothing like. I mean, I've got pictures upstream and downstream.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really strange. You could even see the line out in Thompson, just a little bit past the bay where the mouth opens up, and straight back up to the, to the property, to the
That's where it would be
wetland.
helpful to have that drone you were talking about.
I know that's something we can definitely start discussing in the future. It's something we might want to. I'll get an email around just to see what we can do if we want to have that discussion because. Special districts are providing another free class for licensing. It's a 2-day instead of a week long this time. I think it's in Tigard.
Was
So,
Steve around when this happened?
No.
Oh, darn.
No.
Okay.
No. So, anybody, if we could find a committee member or whomever,
Well, yeah, because
That would be
doesn't Steve
awesome.
have a drone?
he does, so that would be a good time to get that out. Also, just FYI, I definitely wanted to take our EXO water quality probe over there, but it is in Ohio right now getting its annual QC
Oh.
service. So it will be back on its way to us shortly, but we have to have that done every year just to make sure we're consistent. And, one other note, there was one mistake I just noticed this evening on our account report for the aeration project. There's a charge for $975.50 that needs to be put on our contracting cost for our shoreline project, and I must have not been clear to Teresa on that account report. So what that will do is that'll put us under at $149,703.47. So we'll be under budget on that project. So we have $296 left to spend.
Which one is
That's
it? The Vivian's Restaurant? Or
Yeah, the connection, because that's obviously not.
So one of them has been
The Lake
deducted
Bottom
down
project,
below,
yeah.
but both of them should have been?
Yeah, because that was supposed to be a split
Oh, yeah,
between the
camera
aeration
project.
and the camera project, and I
Okay.
probably just told her aeration, And she put it in the aeration project, which was correct, but it was to go to the shoreline aeration project,
Okay.
which is out of our general fund now, not our project level improvement fund.
Great.
So, my bad, but we will correct that. I've got it noted.
Okay.
I believe that is all I've got, unless there are any more questions.
Under new business then, we have appointment of the committee members on the budget committee. Do we have confirmation and who those people are?
We do. Our budget committee will remain exactly the same. Mitch will be on the road, but has graciously offered to call in if needed during the budget committee meeting. Throughout the year, as you know, this is open and advertised to accept applications 12 months. I have received no applications for the budget committee. After touching base with our current budget committee members, and of course our current board members, the roster will stay the same if that pleases the board.
We need a motion to reinstate our former board,
I would say so.
our budget committee members. And would you tell us who those are? Susan Walke, I know is one, Mitch Moore,
See if I
and
can remember all of them.
Mark Christie.
Yeah, Mark Christie, Larry Rich, Miles Schlesinger. Is that all of our committee?
That's it, right?
Okay, and then our, is that five, and then our board, Steve is as a board member this year. Remember
Right.
last year we had to
Yeah.
take on a, yeah.
So I had one question, not related to the budget committee, but are you done with that?
Yeah.
No, we have
well,
to
we need to,
vote.
let's hear a motion to, I'll make a motion that we reinstate the previous budget committee as seated to include all members, past members of the 2018 budget committee.
Second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Okay, great. We have a budget committee. Thank you. Thanks, Josh. All right, Josh, excuse me, Bill.
So what my question was to Josh was as to when or have you notified John Tucci about the annual maintenance?
I have not yet. What would work for your schedule
Is he
as well?
planning on, he is coming, right, this
Yeah,
summer
spring.
after the 1 year?
Oh,
Spring,
spring, I thought it was summer.
Oh, I thought we discussed spring.
thought it
We
was
don't
like
have anything
July.
on the books yet. What
So
would you?
according to his schedule, if it would be July or August would
Okay.
be premium, but if it's later than that, that's fine too, into September would work.
I will
But just want to make sure, because I know that the valves that control the air need to be either checked or replaced.
Okay. I will.
And that
call
would
him.
put us as close to a year as possible and still have,
Yeah. Well, it would be prime to have him out here during that time too, since that's our trial by fire period.
right.
There.
If something's not improving, why?
Yeah, and if we have him on site, all the better. So.
As far as I can tell, all the bubble plumes look the same, and without actually monitoring each one with a pressure tester at the manifold, you can't really tell, but you can by observing the bubble plume hitting the surface, and they all look pretty consistent to what they were when we had them installed. So.
And soon, if you have a moment or you're going to be out on the water, if you have the boat in, I'll jump out with you as soon as I get the equipment back.
Yeah, just give me a holler.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thanks, Bill.
Okay. Any other new business items from the board? Non-agenda items from the board?
How are we coming on different agenda outline?
This latest rendition was what I have came up with.
The one presented tonight?
Yeah, I
Okay.
took some of the feedback that I had received and put it in there, things like getting rid of the Roman numerals, keeping the agenda to one page, trying to keep the staff report under 2. So comments, questions?
Well,
on-
there was a couple things. Number one, I thought, in fact, it's in the minutes from last meeting that I asked that we have some kind of action items, and I think Steve asked for that too. There's some, so we need to place that in there somewhere. And because of that, we still haven't looked at the Devil's Lake Plan adoption. And that was in last meeting
Yeah.
minutes, and we've had that on, I know, I assume we don't have any comments on it.
No, and that's, we're not actually changing that plan, so I don't know, it's up to the board if you want to officially adopt it into something, but it just served as a goal board update. It has been published on the website since October.
Right.
I've received no additional comments or concerns from public or anyone else. If you want to make an official motion to
Well,
accept that as a board, or...
Well, what I'd like to do is it to be distributed to the board again. It's been so long. I don't
I don't need it again.
I don't.
We have
I
it
haven't.
electronically.
Yeah, I can email it to you, but it's on
Okay.
on the front page of the website since
Well,
October.
we got it electronically by email a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't revisited it for a long time, and it would be nice if we could at least have it, and then, or know that it's there, and then next meeting, if we could have a reading. I think we need to have a reading of it and adopt it.
The whole thing?
Yeah, it's what, 7 pages or something, but it should be adopted. We put a lot of time in that, and it's
Adopted?
no.
I mean, I don't know if it needs to be. It's you know.
I just
I
think
don't know how you want to
we've
approach
had
it.
we've had Devil's Lake, we've had plans in the past, and this is an update of that. I know Tom spent a lot of time on it, and I just think it's a good idea. I thought it was a good plan. He's put a lot of time in it, and we should we should at least visit it again as a board, and then put it out to the public has at least had an opportunity to see it online, but we should, it wouldn't take that long to read it.
Okay.
And adopt it if need be. I think it needs to be adopted.
I don't mind adopting it, but reading 7 pages
Well.
is a lot.
I could
But
read
you
it.
can if you like to.
I could read it if we need to, so.
Sure. I'll get that back out to you, Ken.
All right, thank you.
That's currently still on our website, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that this is better, Josh, the agenda and the staff report. I really, honestly, I like the format of the minutes, and if somehow we could kind of, I mean, and I'm just one person.
Yeah.
But I like, when we have the agenda item, then a note of, who's reporting on it. Josh is reporting on it. Tina's reporting on it, whatever. When I write an agenda, I always put, who the staff person is that's reporting on it. And
Okay.
then along with that, you could incorporate the action items right in that, that section. So if it's in, a certain committee, the action item is, to figure out who owns the bottom of the lake.
Sure. So just under the items, for example,
Yeah, so
tonight I'll
you're
say
almost
Josh to report
melding-
OWRD for
Right.
sand sediment level.
I mean, to me, I would prefer that the agenda and the staff report almost be melded together
Okay.
in one document.
Okay.
But that's just me. I don't know how
You know,
everybody else feels. I mean, this is pointless, in my opinion.
Right, and I think that it informs the public too as to what we're going to cover in more detail, and I think it's redundant that we
Okay.
just put out the agenda and then a staff report. It should be incorporated. I think you're right, Tina.
And then you can have the action items right in there under each of those bullet points.
Sure. I might be able to get that all on 2 pages, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, and if you can't, then that's fine, because
Yeah.
we've got a lot going on
Okay.
that particular month. I guess what we're trying to get away from is the old 7 pages of the
Yeah.
same stuff over and
Yeah.
over again. I want it to be
Concise.
the fresh stuff,
Yeah.
and I want it to have enough information so people feel like they're informed, and so that we feel like, okay, this is what, we're talking about, and then you have the minutes to refer to last month of like, oh, this is what we said last month. Where is that on here this month, and what has happened with that since?
The other suggestion I have is that under public comments, we have these long paragraphs. We haven't needed that for a long time. And maybe we could do away with that to shorten it up. And then in the future, if we need that, we can insert it. What do you think?
I don't have a preference either way on that.
I'm just
Whatever-
saying if we want to shorten it.
Yeah.
Shorten
I mean, if it's the
pages.
matter of an extra piece of paper every week, sure, get rid of it. But if it just is, bumps the rest of it down the margins more, I
Yeah.
don't.
Is the organization a little better now, just numbers and letters?
Yeah, I like that.
Bullets a
way
little
better.
cleaner without all the 18 different Roman numerals and, okay, good. Yeah, no, I think
never
those
bothered me.
changes are going to be rather easy to make, so.
I just think action items
Yeah.
that need to be highlighted. And, yeah, I think you could combine the staff report and the agenda together and just make one document. I think it'd be preferable to everybody.
I would follow up with Steve, because he actually, I thought he was going to provide you with some templates that he had used in the past or that he liked, but maybe.
I definitely had some comments and things from him, and I believe he sent me one or two, but nothing really matched up with
Okay.
kind of what we were
Okay.
looking at. But no, I'll,
I would just follow up with him
Make
on
sure.
that before. I mean, it can change again, obviously,
Yeah.
but is for the spirit of you not having to change it every month. He had a lot of great input on that, so.
okay, I'll run it by Steve.
Okay. Any additional comments from citizens present on agenda or non-agenda items? Anybody at all? Nobody?
And one more quick thing, Kent.
Okay.
Bill with Northwest Jet Sports is going to be here this weekend doing practice on the lake. One of the reasons Miles and I recently found out, where'd he go, that they did not come back last year was not necessarily just because of the city and the vendor situation, but they're having some organizational conflict. He told me yesterday on the phone that they're not sure which organization is going to be the jet ski race organization that they work with and that I guess is the organization. So I don't even believe they're having a race this year at all. But he did want to call. He did call us and ask if everything was okay. That he was on the lake and had nothing but great things to say about a couple times that him and some of his racers have been down here over the past year and said that it's perfect.
What is the situation with the deed for Regatta Grounds?
That is in the hands of the Parks and Rec of Lincoln City,
Okay.
and has been since that last meeting several months ago.
So that might be something to put on the agenda to follow up with.
Yeah.
Speaking of action items, because it's things like that you kind of forget about them if they're not on there, and just to have status updates.
We can get a status update on that right
Yeah.
now.
All right.
And then, did you want to talk about Alexandria?
I thought I mentioned her the last thing.
You
But,
did, but
No, we have an intern to come on. I need to get her started. I'm going to try to in April, try and get her a little bit early to work on a few things. She is from here, Lincoln City. She went to OSU, has her undergrad degree, is going to be working on her master's degree soon, but it's taken a couple years to come back here and get some work experience. So she was very excited that the position was open. She has an environmental biology degree. She's educationally perfect for the situation. I think the district's going to benefit from it, and I think that she will definitely get a lot of great experience moving forward in the career she's chosen from here as well, because we've got some great things going on and a lot of history to study.
Great.
Right.
Did anybody speak to Mr. Drayton about that sign that Miles brought up last time?
We had spoke to Mr. Drayton about that, and I think he wants, the conversation led to wanting $400 or $500 a month, I think, to rent the sign.
Oh.
So I don't know unless it was a different one that he's talking about, Miles, or
I missed the sign at DLWID Road.
yeah.
That was supposed to be free, is what he said to me. He'd give it to us.
Uh.
If we wanted
maybe he's changed his mind or something.
Okay.
There was one other thing that I think came up in the conversation, emails back and forth, was we have a Lake Stewart Award to present.
sent in a nomination.
And that has been somehow overlooked tonight, unfortunately, but we are not going to overlook that. When is the community the event that we need to present our award?
Easter?
I think it's on 4/19 or 4/20.
Boy.
I think it's
this
the
year.
Saturday of Easter.
Check
Oh,
my
boy.
calendar.
Yeah, I thought it's probably coming up pretty
Because
quickly.
I know that the citywide garage sale is.
It's Saturday the
and-
20th is what I have down, Tina.
And isn't Easter the 21st?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard.
Well, in regards to the Lake Stewart Award that we've given in the past, I know that we need to, I think we need to award that this year too, and present someone on the board presented at that event, the community-wide event. It's a great award, and in my belief, we have somebody that's been doing a lot of work for a lot of years and is well-deserved. And I know it came up that Kathy Kramer brought up Julie Sexton's name, and Steve Brown chimed in that he thought that was a good idea. And I know that Julie's name has come up in the past, and I believe this year is a good year to recognize her. So I would like to nominate Julie Sexton to be our Lake Stewart Award winner from the board. And I think 3 of us can vote.
I agree, I say yes. Do we have to make a formal nomination, or do I have to second it?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So that taken care of. Thank you, Julie, for all that you do for the lake. I can't even think of all
And
the
us.
different things. Yes. Everything from taking care of signs to providing lunches at lake cleanup or whatever. It just seems like you're always behind the scenes. There's somebody else that's behind the scenes too that we're going to get one of these days too. But this year we're going to recognize you for all your hard work, and thank you very much. Now I guess the other thing would be is to see if we can get a board member to
I don't
be
have
at
my
the
phone,
banquet.
I don't have my calendar with me, but I can get back to you.
Okay.
Are you,
I plan on being there as well. So if for some
Okay.
reason you guys can't, I told Shirley that
Would you-
somebody will be there to present. So.
okay.
Yes, and would you order the award for us too, please?
Certainly.
And
And maybe send out an email to the board to see who wants tickets in
Yes.
case we need a whole table.
right, yes, that would
Will
be
do.
that'd be great.
So I'm not supposed to interject or chime in, but
No.
Oh, you're not.
I'm
Sorry,
going
this
to
is-
refrain from that.
This is one of those times you can't say anything about your wife.
Good or bad.
All right. Other than that, are there any other board comments or announcements? Any other comments from those present? Thank you for coming. Good to see you. And with that, we'll be adjourned.
Hey.
Yeah, so there's
Oh, they're answered your
Now, that's
Worked
good.
well?
in that. I don't know
Good.
if I'm going
I-
to have
You don't
to
even have to
wrestle Kent about that.
Well, I saw it, but then,
I think there may be.
well, because there's 2 identical.
Shirley said it's fine.
And so then I was like, oh, yeah, it got deducted, but yeah, there's 2 that should have been.
Yeah, I looked at that today and